Good evening, everyone. Tonight we'll be doing a presentation on General Electric. My name is Kevin Mitra, along with Uzra Cholonu, Isaac Diaz, and Hayden Lesko. So, the first part of our presentation focuses on what is General Electric. Simply put, General Electric is the largest multinational industrial conglomerate out in the world. And in other words, they're a global company, and you can find them really anywhere in the world. And so, as you'll see in the figure to the right, they're located pretty much in most developed countries. They have a global footprint, and they have several business lines which we'll discuss in the later segment of our presentation. Another aspect with General Electric is they're a very storied company. What I mean by this is there's a lot of history behind it. They've been open for over 100 plus years, and they cultivate a history of innovation. Now, there isn't any official mission statement for GE. However, they do have this equation that they like to tout that serves as sort of their mission statement. And what it says is they look at what the world needs, they multiply that by the belief in a better way, along with a relentless drive to invent and build things that matter. And this kind of all culminates to a world that works better. Now, to go into the history of GE, I'm going to pass it off along to Isaac Diaz.
I'm going to talk about the history in GE. GE started in 1892 in New York by Thomas Edison, Charles A. Coffin, E. Lou Thompson, and Edwin J. Houston. Edison had his own separate plant, which was called the Edison General Electric Company. E. Lou Thompson had his own separate plant, Thompson Houston Electric Company. So both men came together as one, and they discussed that they wanted to join together as one big plant, and that's how GE started. GE started as a lighting business, leading off from Thomas Edison's old plant as a light bulb business. Well, you must be wondering how GE lasted so many years. Well, GE lasted so many years because people within the business started coming up with new ideas. These new ideas help people around the world within homes or even the military. So, that's why GE became famous for who they are. To further talk about GE's innovations for the future, I will pass it along to Usos.
Okay, so let's take some time now to actually look at GE's organizational structure. And by examining this organizational chart, you can see that GE is clearly a multi-divisional organization. It divides each and every one of its divisions into its own entity that basically is its own business driver, its own business revenue maker. So they're all kind of delineated in their own specific ways as more of a conglomerate of companies instead of functions off of a major head enterprise. Okay, so taking a deeper dive into the actual divisions that GE has, you can see that among the revenue generation units, you have your product divisions. You're going to have your energy, you're going to have your aviation, you're going to have your capital. These are the places and the functions of the organization that actually generate revenue. In addition to that, you have your growth and operations division. This division is dedicated to figuring out ways to break into emerging markets. All right. Now you also have your centralized support unit, and that's important just because that is basically the internals of the company. Those are the things that maintain the business process. You have your IT inside there, you have your finance, you have your human resources, you have those functional groups that support the people and the organizational teams that actually generate revenue for the company. Let me start with GE Aviation. It's a standard division that GE has had for a long time. It's their aerospace division where they design their turbines, design their measuring technologies. their gauge clusters, and all the things that GE actually innovates in the aeronautics industry. Alright, so let's move on to healthcare. GE Healthcare basically designs, produces, and engineers different medical devices and medical implants. They design pacemakers, they design artificial hips. That's what they innovate on, and that's how they go about doing their business in that division. Okay, so now let's talk about GE Transportation. Basically, that division of GE provides the engineering, provides development of marine vessels, drilling rigs, entire locomotives. That's the engine. That's that portion of the business that actually produces that type of product. All right, next let's talk about GE Home and Business Solutions. Basically, this is the portion of the business that deals with appliances, deals with lighting, deals with kind of like the more construction-based implements that GE produces. Alright, so now let's talk about GE Capital. Now, GE Capital is one of GE's major divisions. It's their venture capital division. Basically, they invest in companies and provide financial services into industries and products that could help innovate in whatever field they're trying to go for. It's their investment arm is a part of one of their major revenue generators. But odd enough, it's actually being divested in right now. It's actually being reallocated so that it's not one of their major income generators. In fact, energy, which we're going to talk about next, is going to be the one that they're trying to focus on. With that being said, let's talk about GE Energy, which is GE's bread and butter. This is their prized horse. All right, GE Oil and Gas is the division of GE Energy that produces all the technology, all the equipment that they use for drilling, for mining, for producing natural gas, oil, shale, all the things that we use in our fossil fuels. They also innovate in producing clean energy in their power division, which is where you find your renewable energy, your wind turbines, your water generation processes, like your water treatment processes. These are the type of things that they produce in power. Now in GE Energy Services, you'll find their technology that they use to actually help manage all this energy better and more efficiently. And they do this very actively using like power conversion, industrial solutions, and energy consulting services for anybody who would like to take on that type of business or that type of undertaking. So now let me toss it right back to Kevin to actually discuss what makes GE different.
So this brings us along to the next point. What makes GE different? They're a very history company, as we've learned. They've been open for over 100 years. So what has been the staple mark that has allowed them to be able to do this and really maintain their relevance in the world of business and really in just day-to-day life? So one of the things that GE has really been known for a really, really long time is their capacity to develop outstanding leaders. In fact, many of the people that have worked at GE go on to become CEOs or executives of plenty Fortune 500 companies. And this is something I've had some personal experience with. I actually had interviewed for GE for their ITLP program, or their Information Technology Leadership Program, and kind of really touts and speaks to their investment into their people. Now, this program is a 2-year rotational program, and it involves 4 different assignments that really extend to give the employee or the candidate a breadth of different experiences within the realm of IT to give them that horizontal knowledge and get a big picture idea of what IT is in relevance to GE. And this extends further because this is a skill, or really a wide range of set of skills that you can develop through this program that then you can bring on forward to another aspect of your career, and it shows as a testament to GE's investment into their people. So as a part of this program, we're actually put into two different business segments. I was interviewing for GE Healthcare, for example. However, I would have later on the opportunity to work for GE Aviation, and this is something that's incredibly valuable. It allows you to leverage this knowledge between the two industries and really bring it back home into your role, and you use it later to be able to make better decisions for the business. And lastly, and really the creme de la creme of this, is GE even invested into creating a campus called GE Crontville in New York, which focuses on developing leaders in the industry by teaching them soft skills and highlighting industry trends that can really benefit them, and they can bring on home into their roles. And this is all a mutually beneficial relationship if you think about it. The employee gets developed and hones in their skills and be able to produce better results for the company, and in turn, and as you can see on figure 2, actually, a study by Forbes magazine had highlighted this point. Companies like GE, who see career and leadership development as a strategic part of their culture, or a strategic enabler per se, actually see higher employee productivity, higher employee engagement, higher employee retention, and even reducing their risk and increasing their speed to market. These are all huge benefits for a company like GE, who has maintained the status of being able to stay on the Fortune 500 list for 100 plus years, which is almost unheard of. Now I'll pass along to Hayden, who will talk about some of GE's strengths.
I'm going to talk a little bit about GE's strengths. GE has a very broad competitive scope in the global market, which basically means that it has a very wide market. GE has done this through diversifying operations and innovating new products. If you remember from earlier, GE started in the late 1800s purely as an electric company, but they have expanded and they provided new products and services, and nowadays they can provide aircraft engines, water processing, power generation, household appliances, medical imaging, financial services, and many more. And through this diversification of their operations, they were able to achieve a market capitalization of $222 billion in 2013. Now, if you compare this number to their greatest competitors, Siemens and DuPont, Siemens only had $95.1 billion and DuPont only had $43.1 billion. So you can see the staggering lead that GE has in front of its competitors. Another one of GE's main strengths is its ability to consistently create innovative products. You can see at the top here is a picture of the first commercially successful electric toaster, the Model D12, which was invented by GE in 1905. And also, a current innovation that they're still working on is GE's new energy venture called Current. It is a digital power service built to transform the way we use energy. That's directly from GE's website. How is it going to do this? It uses intelligent environments, which consist of sensors that capture usage and energy consumption data, and it's going to use this data to improve productivity and efficiency across the board. And in turn, this will also reduce energy costs. Since this is a digital platform, it'll also be able to be upgraded as technological advancements are made, which gives it a lot of staying power in our infrastructure. Another quote from GE's website says, "Imagine smart cities configured with eco-friendly LED lighting systems networked with sensors." And that gives you an outline of their basic idea for this kind of infrastructure. Now, the two main reasons that GE was able to stay competitive in the global market is the fact that it has diversified its operations throughout its existence, and it was able to consistently innovate new products. And I believe those are the two main reasons why it was able to stay competitive and also stay in the Fortune 500 for decades. And I'm curious to see where GE's new energy will lead us in the future. Without further ado, here's Uzo with a recap of our presentation.
All right, so I'm sure it's clear by now that GE is a very, very powerful player when it comes to companies in basically any industry that it's working in. It's a company with a global footprint. It's got several business lines. It's got a rich history. And it's got no official mission statement, which means that it's actually kind of open to change. It's open to responding to the business market, responding to the world around it. It's a green company. It cares about the environment. It cares about, keeping the earth going. In addition to that, it cares about people. It cares about its leaders, its developers, its producers, its innovators, and it shows that through its leadership programs, its cultivation processes, and its functional and organizational structure, which allows each organization to operate with near impunity, operating as if it's its own entity in its multi-divisional structure. It also allows itself to be stable because of its varied divisions, varied revenue streams. And its focus on innovating and breaking into the new emerging markets. I think it's all of this that actually makes GE a super powerful force in the industry, a super powerful force in business in general.